Hi, third graders and third grade families. I miss you all in music class so much. I think every day about you, and I think about your recorder sitting next to the window in my classroom, not being played. I think about you all the time. I'm going to be starting to do this for music class a little bit. That way, we're still connecting. That way, you're still having your brains be filled with musical knowledge. That way, when we do come back, we kind of have an easy transition. If you remember, before we left, we were starting to talk about the different instrument families. We've been talking about the woodwind family, and we talked about the string family first. I have a couple of activities and experiments that you're going to do for the Woodwind family. They're going to be broken up into two different videos, and in this specific video, we are going to be focusing on the flutes. If you remember, with the Woodwind families, they are broken up into two different categories. You have the flutes and you have the reeds. So looking at our little diagram here, what does that say? Oh, goodness. So looking at our little diagram here, our little poster, I don't need to know the words are backwards. Yes, I know the words are backwards on my screen. I see it, so that's okay. You don't have to tell me. They might come right side up on your screen. I don't know. But they're backwards on mine. So here is our little neighborhood in perfect harmony poster. So looking at the string family first. If you remember talking about the string family, we know there are four main string instruments. We have the baby violin, the sibling viola, mama cello, and the daddy bass. My daddy bass doesn't even fit on the screen. Do you remember how tall a daddy bass stands? How tall is that upright bass? 6 feet. It's 1 whole foot taller than Miss Chilinsky, if you remember me standing in class with a ruler on my head. So now remember, we're talking about all of these different instrument families and how to play them and what they look like, sound like, feel like for when you sign up for conservatory for next year. So we're really going in depth about the different instrument families. So we started by talking about our string family and then moving on to the woodwind. You remember in our little red house, the woodwinds are broken up into two different categories. You have, oh goodness, you have the reeds and you have the flutes. And you remember that the flutes you can play on their own, and the reeds you need a single or a double reed in order to be able to play. Remember, the instruments that have a single reed are the clarinet and the saxophone, and the ones that have the double reed are the oboe and the bassoon. So those are our single and double reeds. When we're talking about the flutes, you don't need a reed to be able to play it. You just need to be able to have the air split. So if you think about your recorders, I can't even show you my recorder. My recorder is stuck at school too. We're all recorderless at this point. So if you think about your recorder, when you go to blow into it, there's that little window at the top. Half of the air escapes out the window, and the other half of the air goes through the instrument. And when the air splits by going out the window or through the instrument, that's what creates the vibrations, which is what creates the sound. So I may not have my recorder here, but I do have this. I have my bamboo flute. So now a bamboo flute obviously creates a different sound than a recorder, but it's still part of the woodwinds because of how you go to play it. You blow into it. So I'll hold it up close so you can see it. Whoop, that's too close. So looking at my bamboo flute, you'll see there are holes drilled into it. You can see the natural indents from the bamboo that come with the piece of bamboo. Now remember, bamboo, it's like that strong, woody, grassy substance. Pandas like to eat bamboo, panda bears. They wouldn't eat this bamboo though because it's hollow. You can see all the way through. Kind of, you can see a little light. So my bamboo flute, even though it doesn't sound like a recorder, the fingerings are very similar. So you still have your B, A, and G. The fingerings are still similar. When you play the flute, I put my mouth up to the lip plate. You'll see that half my air is going to go across this little hole in the top, and the other half is going to go through the bamboo flute. You can already kind of hear it, which is what's going to create the split, which creates the vibrations, which creates the sound. So now they've plugged up the very top of the piece of bamboo. Almost got my fingers stuck. You can kind of see how you can't see through. They plugged up the top. That way all the air is being forced to go out this end of the flute. That way it creates the pitch. If air was coming out this side, I feel like it would have a wonkier kind of pitch. So it needs only one escape point. So when I go to play, I roll the flute to the edge of my lip and then I blow across. You hear that? So I blow down, so half my air goes in, and then half my air is going across. The flute, just like a regular flute, or like a piccolo, you hold horizontally. There is only one flute woodwind that you hold vertically. Do you remember what it is? I hope you remember what it is. It's the one that you play the most. Which one is it? Yes, the recorder. The recorder is the only woodwind flute instrument that you hold vertically. It's the only one that's held vertically. The rest are held horizontally. So, like I mentioned before, the fingering is very similar with the flute, with the bamboo flute specifically, to the recorder. So I can go and play one of our songs. I know I messed up the rhythm at the beginning, but that's okay. So now it's very similar. Or I can do another song as well. Super cool. I was messing around the other day with my water bottles. Now this water bottle, if you remember in class, I had the Poland Springs water bottle that I was using to split the sound and create the pitch. Or if you remember in our Woodwind video, PJ had all the different sized water bottles lined up with different colored fluid in them. He took water and he added food coloring to the water. That way you could see where the levels of the water were. So I was playing around with my water bottle, and I didn't even mean to do this. It was unintentional, but I was sitting, I guess, just holding my water bottle, and I went to blow across. I think there's too much water in it right now. Hold on. Oh, I'm close. I'm close. It's a good way to stay hydrated, though. You hear it a little bit? If it was more empty, it'd work. My water's very cold, so I need a second. So the reason it's able to do this, and I will try again. Right now it's just full and it's cold water and it's making my chest hurt. So the small opening at the top of the plastic bottle, this is small enough that my air is able to go half across and half into the bottle. And if you see, as I'm drinking water, I'm creating space. So eventually, when I create enough space, it's going to be able to produce a sound. I'll drink a little more in a second. So if you have a plastic reusable water bottle at home that does have that small opening, and this is a full opening, it's not one of the ones that you pull up and then water can come out and you push down. So this is just a natural opening. You can try to use this. Let me drink. Hold on. Let me try again. It was making my teeth cold. So. Oh, I'm so mad it's not working. There it is. So if you do have a reusable plastic bottle, I suggest that it's this empty or more in order to create a sound. But remember, if you remember watching the video with PJ, the less water that there is in the bottle, the lower pitch you're going to get because there's so much more room that the air or the vibrations have to move in order to create the sound. They're moving at a slower frequency, which creates the lower pitch. So I have an activity for you to try to do at some point this week. I want you to find as many water bottles as you can that have a small opening, or if you have any extra juice bottles or milk jugs or water jugs or whatever. I want you to find them. And I want you to fill them all with different levels of water. If you don't remember how, you can go to the PJ video. I'll email the link as well to the Woodwind family just in case. I want you to fill them all up to different levels. You do not need the food coloring like PJ did. If you have food coloring at home and you want to jazz up your water, by all means, I'm not going to stop you. So I want you to fill it up to different levels, and I want you to see the different pitches that you can make and play around with the different sounds. Maybe you can fill them all up to specific levels where you can play a sound moving around like PJ did, going from bottle to bottle. Let me see. Now, if you remember the pitch, it sounds like this. Oh, I think it works better this way. If I drink more water, you know, the pitch changes a little bit. So definitely go around and play with different water bottles and play with different levels. See if different jugs create different sounds. So I want you to do that. The next video that I make, we are going to be making 2 different kind of reed instruments. Here is what I need for you to have in order to be able to make one of the instruments. I need you to have a piece of paper. Doesn't matter if it's lined paper, blank paper, or any kind of paper. You're going to measure it out. You need 8 inches long by 2 inches wide. So an 8 by 2 piece of paper, and we'll go through step by step on how to make that reed instrument. You also need a straw, a plastic straw, and a pair of scissors. Now I know plastic straws really aren't the best for the environment. I get it. I know they're bad. I know they're not good, but they do make wonderful little instruments, and I'm hoping that you're going to keep your instrument and not throw it out. So that'll help the environment a little bit more too if your plastic straw has a purpose. So you need a plastic straw and you need scissors. A thicker plastic straw would be better. So like the kind of straws that you see at Dunkin' Donuts, the heavy duty plastic ones, those might work a little bit better, but any kind of straw will work. You need straw and scissors. You're also probably going to need an adult to be able to cut the straw the proper way in order to create the sound. So I definitely suggest for the next video having an adult come and help you to make the straw when we get to that part. Okie doke. I hope that you are all doing well. I miss you all so, so much. I miss the sound of 30 recorders playing in the same room at me at the same time. I do. I miss it. It's just so quiet. So I will be in touch soon. Make sure you have your 8 by 2 inch piece of paper, a plastic straw, no paper straw. The paper straw won't work. A plastic straw, scissors, and one of your adults. Okie doke. I'll see you soon. Goodbye.